Hey everyone, this is a video about the making of this particular painting. The idea was conceived when I was at the hospital in 2020 and I didn't have much to do and I was very sick. And so I decided why not use that particular time. So I started thinking about it, and eventually I came up with this idea and the composition there because I was there in the ICU. If I'm out of the ICU, then this chance will be lost. So I had to work really fast. I took various photographs and numerous reference sketches, etc. So this is like a project, big project, and it took me around 1.5 years to complete. And the fun part is that recently it has been exhibited in Delhi. It was appreciated by many artists as well as ministers, authorities, and people who are linked to art administration, and received some press coverage. So, let's start with how it was made and let's get on with it. Well, I was aware of a few medical paintings that were done earlier, and this one is by Thomas Akins, and it's called Gross Clinic. And also, there is a subsequent one which is very different from the previous one. It's called Agnew Clinic. Those were very influential, and also I was aware of this painting by Rembrandt, Nicholas Tulp. Dr. Nicholas Tulp was explaining anatomy in his own classes. So these were in my mind, but the funny thing is that before I gotten sick, I painted this little 6 by 6 inches painting to capture the time in which we were living at that moment. Little did I know that I would be going to the hospital a few days later. So while I was in the hospital, gradually I developed this idea to use the situation and create a very big piece about this COVID situation, and drew these mobile sketches, gesture drawings, and here I am already trying to compose the painting in my mind and then on mobile software. I was severely ill, but I could use only my mind and hands and my eyes and thinking power to convert that. And this was the first sketch that I developed after being released from the hospital, and I was developing the whole idea, where to place what, and there are too many elements in this. And this is something that I came up with. Then I reversed the idea, and gradually, a combination of both would become the painting. And here is something that I am drawing, the sketch, and this is something that would become as a plan, a very little sketch. Now, I was aware of the proportions, so all of these were made to appear in that proportion. And this is a gouache sketch to try out the colors, and this is the first oil draft. I mean, this was 9 by 12. I just did it, but then I changed the composition because everybody in the background seems same. And here you can see that I changed the composition a little bit with one figure turned towards left in the middle. And this is how it was done. And here I'm preparing the canvas, and then gradually would stretch it with the help of a stretcher, as this is considerably a large one, 48 inches on the side. This is 2 feet by 3 feet canvas that you can see, which looks very small in front of this one. Here I've prepared some sort of a grade to help me to plan out and transfer the drawing onto the canvas. And before that, I'm covering the canvas with the yellow ochre, very thin paint without the help of a solvent. And after that comes drawing. Here my son is trying to help me out with the drawing because I was busy, and it seems he's quite capable drawing straight lines. And in the end, I also did some. I'm drawing some of the smaller areas, and gradually this became the drawing. Obviously, this drawing is not finalized. You should have an open mind to change your drawing if needed. And here the painting starts. Here's Ivory Black, French Ultramarine, Phthalo Blue, and Prussian Blue. A lot of colors were used. This is titanium white, and this is turquoise blue for special occasions, and yellow ochre, and there is another yellow that was used, and this is PV19, and this is burnt sienna. So I just started painting, and this is the first step is actually about covering the canvas with a base color. This is not modeling. This is just putting the basic colors that an object has. So this is not about too much detail, nothing, no shape, nothing, just the colors, so that I have an underneath color that I can use later on when I will be dealing with modeling as well as the finishing, and some of these will show through as well. So this is just covering up. So I'll just explain what happened at that moment. The first wave in 2020 was actually devastating, and a lot of people, including my family, got stranded. And then later, when we were together, we got COVID and stuff. A lot of people passed away. So first wave was like fighting against the unknown. So it was important for me to capture the situation, and even doctors were also experimenting with some of the stuff. They were using even indigenous methods, preparing drinks that are very hot in nature with various spices, etc. So they were treating with all of that, including the medicines and all the other equipments, and a lot of coconut water, a lot of cottage cheese, some stuff like that, paneer. So it was important for me to capture that moment, what happened in the ICU. This is not a sentimental picture, to be quite honest, about the death and the devastation that was there, the fear. It's not about that. It's about the doctors are working on the basis of data, their observation, and treating patients with that. And this is one particular hospital where I was in, and this does not represent all of the um, all of the medical fraternities, obviously, but I think I hope everybody did their best. And this also serves as a tribute painting, although this just represents the medical fraternity, but this was to for the persons who were actually outside dealing with the situation, including the police, delivery people, and e-commerce, and many others. It's very difficult, shopkeepers. It's very difficult to categorize them, but this is a tribute to those people who were there for everybody. So anyway, I'm just getting onto the block-in stage now. You can see there are some shapes that are taking place. It's not base color anymore, and just covering up, and upon which the modeling would take place. And here I'm defining shadows as well as lights, and on the basis of what I'm seeing from the reference photos. I took a lot of reference photos. All the poses are real, and there are doctors when they appeared, when they stopped for a breather. I took these photographs, and a lot of sketches, a lot of ideas. I captured almost anything, all the equipments that I could see from my bed. And you can see that I'm also defining some of the shapes and the things, and gradually I will be putting on more things like monitors, etc. But here I am concentrating on bigger elements that are already there as the most prominent. For instance, the doctors, the patients, and the bigger shapes, not the smaller ones, they will be dealt with during the modeling. So it's slightly mixed, and it took a long time. I mean, because this is not a very optimistic scene at all. Here they were fighting against death. All the patients were very critical, especially the older ones. I was a young person, but my lungs were infected. So this is life is. I mean, you pick up the things and then gradually move on, and it is important to move on from uh, what you have been through in any situation, not just this but any other situation, and start building on it and take the learnings if possible. And here I'm defining more shapes more and more, with shadows, interplay between light and shadows. There are a lot of grays in this stage, not too much white, etc., although it looks a little bit whitish. But the major work, the modeling, started actually during the 2021, when the India faced the round 2 of COVID attack, and that was even more devastating than this one, because that was a very difficult scenario, and everybody lost at least a person in their family. We also did. It needed a lot of guts to get back to, and then continuing working on it. So that's why it took a long time. And also there are too much detail. For instance, this chair gave me a lot of trouble, and this is just the beginning. But ending, and I mean the finishing, is the biggest challenge in this kind of work. Too much detail. Here all of these people that you see, their positions were changed. I lifted them a little during the middle of the painting process, actually, because they looked a little wrong. They even if you plan accurately, there is always something that is wrong, and you must correct those in a picture like this. This picture would become like a training ground for me, if I have to do future paintings that involves people or stories or historic scenes, etc. So this was a good training material, actually. And you will see the picture of the block-in. It was just a little earlier than final block-in attempt. Even in a painting of this scale, I considered spontaneity as the most important factor. I didn't want it to look like a very contrived piece. And this is the block-in, and you will be able to see the modeling as well as the finishing videos in a while. I need to edit those. So if you like this video, then please click the like button and also subscribe for future content, and leave some comments below. And if you want to see more paintings of mine, then visit my website www.costumandfineart for more paintings. Take care.